What I like to do is turn everyday things into the titles of scientific papers. It's not a terribly funny thing to do. At best, it's mildly amusing, but I like to do it for a few reasons. It shows off my vocabulary, and who doesn't like feeling superior through the use of language? It makes fun of scientists' use of unnecessarily big words. 3, it celebrates science in a silly way. First, let's look at a couple of real scientific papers with real titles to give you a feel for the genre. Actually, we'll just look at the abstracts because abstracts are generally free to look at for everybody, and they have the titles at the top. You can get a good feel for what a paper is about from just reading the abstract and even tell what the findings were. Scientists don't really worry about spoilers, but you can't really tell how well the study was designed or if all the science was done well without reading the whole paper. Actually, unless you speak the language, you still might not be able to. There's a reason those folks spend so much time in school. So here's a paper, Assessing the Molecular Basis of Transferable Quinolone Resistance in Escherichia coli and Salmonella Species from Food-Producing Animals and Food Products. This is a great title, and it's fairly catchy considering the genre. The title gets all of its obfuscation from the vocabulary of the actual science involved. Let's dissect it a little. Assessing means measuring, or it could mean observing, so that's easy. Molecular basis means the way this happens chemically and physically. The title even uses an easier way to say that. Next is transferable quinolone resistance. It helps to know that quinolone is a broad-spectrum antibiotic. Transferable means that this resistance can be passed on. The next bit of text is the name of 2 kinds of bacteria, and you probably have even heard of these guys. E. coli and Salmonella can make people sick, but they hang out in the guts of animals and they don't normally hurt anything. Food-producing animals is self-explanatory, but it's hard to know why they added the phrase food products on the end there. If I read the whole paper, I could probably figure that part out. In plain English, the title might be, How Bacteria Spread Antibiotic Resistance to Each Other in Farm Animals. So why don't they say that? 1, they need to be super specific. If you are trying to figure out if this paper applies to your research, you need to know which antibiotic and which bacteria, and what kind of how you are talking about. And also, these papers aren't aimed at the general public. Only people who speak fluent scientists are really supposed to read them. So you want everybody to know you know the right language. You want to be taken seriously. Here's a timely one that takes itself pretty seriously. The modulatory role of high-fat feeding on gastrointestinal signals and obesity. This one isn't the title for a paper about lab research. It's a title for a paper that does a survey of other research papers and tries to draw some conclusions about it. Basically, it says, if you read the abstract, that a high-fat diet leads to a high-fat diet in a positive feedback loop. Like the excitement about Black Friday leads to excitement about Black Friday until you have stampedes and things. Let's dissect the title a smidge, though I'm not really sure you need me to help with this one. Modulatory is a big word that means regulate or control. High-fat feeding means eating lots of fat. And gastrointestinal signals is a phrase that's talking about how the nervous system and the digestive system communicate. Obesity is a clinical word that means overweight to the point of health problems. So, you could rewrite this title to say, eating fat makes you want to eat more fat. I'm not sure it's a valid conclusion because I haven't read the whole paper. Science works like that. But it seems like a reasonable conclusion, and it explains a lot of things. Now that I've taken a couple of papers and translated the titles into regular English, let's do the opposite. Grocery shopping becomes comestible nutrient acquisition through monetary exchange in a retail environment. Folding laundry becomes flexion of wearable textiles in predictable and organized configurations so as to promote storage and impede corrugation that would detract from aesthetic appeal. I like doing this for a lot of silly reasons. For one, you have to think about the activity. What are you really doing and why? It's almost like you're explaining it to an alien who has no understanding of human activity but somehow has a huge vocabulary. Tying shoes becomes the fastening of ligatures constructed purposefully for the affixation of footwear to the distal portion of the lower limb of humanoid mammalian creatures, often using a particular method of subjoinment that enables ease of removal and results in a double looping structure. As you can see, it's a bit of an exaggeration, but anyway, that's my stupid human trick. I've been doing this for a long time, but recently I've been posting them to my Tumblr and Twitter, so if you want to see more, you can always check those out. I'm calling these Everyday Activities Scientific Titles, or hashtag EAST. If you want to do a few and use the same hashtag, then I'll be able to find them and share them, and that would be cool. Links in the doobly-doo.
Well, that was random.